We go now to team coverage on this race. Analysts Alex Birdstein and Peter Barry are here to break down these campaigns. Alex, we'll start with you. What can we expect to see from John Mannion?
Yeah, Mannion is a state senator who's trying to make that jump into the national scene. But first, let's take a look at what his resume is. He's a Syracuse native, grew up here in the city, went through the SUNY schooling system, and then made the jump to politics after being a biology teacher. So he's really into education and has now been in the state senate for the past 4 years. Every time he's in the race, though, it is very close. We'll go back to 2018, the first time he ran, lost by 2% in a district that is primarily Republican for the state senate. So, did okay his first time around, came back in 2020, gets a solid win, 5% to make his first political victory. And then the really close one, 2022, 10 votes decided he's able to get the win, stay in the state senate. Now he's trying to make the jump all the way to U.S. Congress and flip this seat in New York 22. So what matters to Mannion? We talked about the education stuff, in the student loan forgiveness, has had some big education wins in the state senate. He also wants to expand affordable housing. He's the pro-choice candidate in this race against Brandon Williams. And then finally, Micron. He's very big into that, was helping bring the plant to Syracuse, and this is what he had to say at a debate last month.
They are investing in our community already. They're investing in our STEAM school. They're investing in the Museum of Science and Technology. They're investing in a community engagement board, which is making sure that there's going to be opportunity for everyone to obtain these jobs, particularly our most disenfranchised communities.
Well, Mannion's gained some support from a lot of people across the state and across the nation. You look at some of these big teachers unions from New York and around the country. He is an educator and he's gained the support from them, but also some major political power players. You look at the former president, Barack Obama, who was doing remote phone calls for Mannion, and also the state Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer. So some big time political endorsements. And so what are the projections saying? Actually, right now, Mannion is favored to win by a narrow margin, but he's one of these few Republican current seats that are projected to flip here tonight, so that'll be something to watch. And the main reason why, it's these districts. We'll talk about it more later, but district number 22 has switched a little bit in the past couple of years to free districting. A lot of Utica and Syracuse voters are Democratic. They're both now in this district, and that's been big here for John Mannion.
Peter and Alex now joining us at the decks. Now, the interesting part about what he just said is that the money, let's follow this money in this campaign. The total money that these candidates spent is $18 million. Now, the question is, why are they pouring this much money into these attack ads?
It's a very vulnerable district. The congressional district in 2022, Francis Cannell only lost by 1%, and $18 million has been spent all across the district. Across New York, 1.2 million doors have been knocked on to help Democrats, and 5 million phone calls have been made. But in some of these attack ads, they're trying to paint John Mannion as this Albany liberal, as this insider, but he's only been in the state senate for about 2 terms now.
Yeah, it's only been 4 years for him, and also he's had a pretty successful term in the state senate. He's a rather popular politician down there. You look at how he was able to win in a majority Republican district. That's why the Republicans feel this is a candidate that can really challenge Brandon Williams, and that's why they're spending so much money. And also that's why the Democrats are spending so much. This is a seat that they feel they can actually flip. That's not something you can do often in New York, flip a Republican seat to a Democrat or vice versa, but this is a rare scenario where it's actually possible. And you mentioned it, Peter, these door knocking initiatives for the Democrats, it's kind of unlike as ever been seen here in New York. Over 1 million doors knocked in just the past couple of weeks, and they're really trying to get out the vote, especially on the Democratic side.
Yes, definitely a money-spending district, Alex and Peter. And talking about 2022, we know that Republican Brandon Williams won the 22nd New York district by a 50.5% lead compared to his Democratic competitor. So do we think that Brandon Williams kind of has the same leverage in this race, or does it look a little different now 2 years later? What do you all think?
Yeah, I mean, currently it's leaning Democrat according to a lot of the polls, so there has been a little switch up here, but it was one of the closest races in the nation in 2022, and it was close in 2020 as well. This is a swing district, as swing as it gets. It goes back and forth between the two challengers, but the difference for Democrats this time around is you have an experienced politician coming to the table. That's not what they had in Cannell in 2022. Now you have Mannion. he's still young when it comes to being in politics, but he's served 2 terms in the state Senate. Now he has some more experience under his belt. Hasn't run a perfect campaign by any means, but he knows how to run a campaign, and that's really helped kind of swing here in 2022 to 2024.
Definitely.
This election was decided in 2022 by less than 3,000 votes. So it's definitely going to be hard to make up some ground for Williams, especially with the new redistricting by the New York State Legislature. But we could possibly see Williams, as some Syracuse professors are saying, by 4 to 7 points in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, New York 22 is one of the most contentious races in the nation. And going into the redistricting, you brought up, Alex, earlier, how does this change the sway of the race?
It's a big swing. I mean, you've added about 10,000 Democratic voters. Before this redistricting, probably wouldn't have been a close race. It still is a close race, but as you said, Peter, I mean, this seems like it's most likely going to be a Mannion win, especially the campaign has been going well towards Mannion's favor in the past couple of weeks. But you add these voters, now you have the whole area, both Syracuse and Utica, 2 Democratic strongholds in the entire state, both voting in this district, and that's really helped out Mannion over these past couple of months.
Yeah, on the map, it adds Auburn, which is actually Jill Biden's hometown. So Biden dropping out of this race, even though Onondaga County is a +8 Biden county in 2020, it might have helped Williams. They also remove Oneida County, which 2/3 of the people there voted for Williams.
Wow, this is definitely an exciting race to follow. So thank you, Peter and Alex, for joining us for this.